Finishing work in design school can be something that people really struggle with. And a lot of it has to do with people being so concerned with things being perfect or an idea not being developed enough for you to take the time to document and prepare for building models or whatever the case is. And in reality, it's very important that you give yourself enough time to do work and then document it properly, because if you don't, you're only shorting yourself. You're not going to be able to show your ideas in a complete way, because if you only have one drawing, a good critic should be asking you where the other drawings are, because inherently, by doing the other drawings, by building the model, by doing the thing that you don't have, which is kind of always my recommendation for people who are stuck, is just do the thing that you don't have. You need all of that to be fairly complete, or at least covering those different bases, because otherwise it becomes really hard to know the complete scope of what it is that you're talking about. And so to be able to build models like what's on the screen here, this takes weeks of work. So to be able to do this, you need to stop that sort of the fun part of the design process of, as some people think of it, like that very beginning where it's exciting and there's ideas and, there's all these possibilities. In reality, and especially in the professional world, you kind of get through that very quickly, because you start getting used to developing ideas at deeper and deeper levels. So, by the time you get down to drawing actual details for the building, you're still thinking about like these bigger ideas for the building and how they show up at a smaller level. But if you don't sort of lock in some of the bigger moves, some of the bigger decisions, you're going to have trouble moving forward. And so a good critic should be having you, sort of pacing you along the way and helping you with that. Not every critic does it that way. I know for me as a critic in the past, I've been really, sort of frustrated both as a critic, watching critics just let students stay up all night the night before reviews, in my own studios, as a student, watching other students who, didn't do anything all semester and then would show up with something at the end. It's up to the critic to be managing all of that. That's not your problem. But when you get into the real world, it is your problem. And so finishing work is part of the job of being a designer, being an architect. And so just get used to it in school. And you shouldn't be getting used to it with a requirement of staying up all night. A few hours relative to several weeks or several months is, if you stay up for those extra few hours, it's probably going to hurt you more than help you. Because, being able to explain yourself in a coherent way is going to do more service to your project than you showing up looking like a mess, barely able to put a sentence together. So get some sleep, pace yourself so that if you have, ambitions of a well-documented project, you give yourself a few days if it's a sort of like a mid-review critique, or a few weeks if it's your final critique. And again, your critic should be helping you with that, because to me, that's part of the deal. And if they're not, again, I see this all the time and I'm always surprised. And I've had talks with other critics about it very, very plainly, where I've said this to students and, well, my critic doesn't do it that way. And it's like, you know what, honestly, I'd be happy to have a conversation about that, because I would say the results don't always work out that well when you're just pushing your students to redline the night before a review. So my point is, take it easy on yourself, and good luck with your projects out there. If this is helpful for you, liking and subscribing to the channel is the best way to show me that this is useful. So good luck with everything, and I'll talk to you soon.